What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Zookeepers podcast.
I'm Kay.
I'm Davis.
I'm T.
I'm White.
I'm Ash.
And I'm Shade, and we're taming life
one conversation at a time.
Oh, man.
I said, come
I took on the challenge of having a pretty heavy episode.
You did.
So we're gonna change the climate a little bit of just how we do our little roll call today. And we're gonna do a wellness check. And we're gonna see how everybody is feeling mentally, physically, and emotionally on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Okay.
We can go either way.
Go ahead, Ash.
Dang. For the first time, you want to start over here, huh?
She want to start at death row and doing bad
I don't
boy.
want no revenge. No revenge.
We death row and they bad
Revenge on
boy.
me, please.
Sure,
You
no
got
revenge. You see how she plays
no
so
pieces on
much?
my Instagram.
So how are you, friend?
Mentally, you said say the numbers again.
Mentally, physically, and emotionally on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Mentally, I'm at a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, I'm at an 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one?
Emotionally.
Emotionally, I'm at a 7.
Okay, that's valid. White.
Mentally, I'm a 10, baby.
Period.
Had the day off, chilling, relaxing, sipping this triple X. What you brought us?
Double X.
Double X.
Wait a minute.
She done drunk too much.
We done added an X in it. We done
She
added
had too
an X.
much.
Slow down, you 40.
Okay, mentally, I'm a 10.
That's awesome.
Physically, I don't know. My back is hurting a little bit. The back, and I wasn't on it in a couple of days. So I don't know.
I'm about to say,
Oh, brother.
You need a pillow, sis?
Need a booster?
They play all day.
They do.
need the
This
ibuprofen.
is supposed to be serious.
They play all
Need
day.
an ibuprofen.
How are you
Good.
emotionally?
Emotionally, I'm in a good space. So I'm going to say a 10.
Awesome.
Okay.
10, 8, 10.
What's
10,
8?
10.
Them numbers are nice.
Back hurts.
Physical, she was an 8 because she got back pain.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
But
Gotta
ain't
be
been,
on
but
it a
ain't been
little
on it.
Yeah, I ain't been on it. I got to get on
Yeah.
it. Got to get on it.
You need a
Oh,
chiropractor.
brother.
Well, you gonna
She
get
need
on
to.
it.
She need to do yoga.
He coming. You gonna get on it.
Coming. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
This is not the episode. This is not the episode.
He coming in the back room.
She'll be
He
coming.
coming.
Round the mountain when she comes.
Coming in the Honda.
Next
She'll be
caller.
coming around.
Next caller. Next caller.
And where's he coming?
On your back.
Y'all, this is supposed to be a very serious
It
episode.
is. You know how. You
And
know
they
how it is
play.
in the beginning.
So that's why the back
They
hurt.
play.
Y'all, ask us how we feeling, baby.
Tierney,
Right.
how
you
are
open
you?
that door.
I'm a 10 all the way across the board. I'm good.
We love to see it.
How you say red in Spanish?
You gotta roll the arm. You gotta roll the arm. Okay.
OMG.
They're out of control.
They
friend.
are out of control.
Yes, I rolls.
Oh, red.
She dropped a 30 ball on that.
Oh,
30
Wow.
Yeah, 10 all the
Wow.
way across.
let me pick up my mouth.
Davis, how are you?
Lord, not
After your rendezvous and crash your cars.
I mean,
How are you mentally?
we're not breaking up the past, okay?
Like, really? How are you?
Oh, brother.
The Lord is still working on it.
It should be a 10 because if that's a 10, I don't want to know what a 1 is.
I will be at church on Sunday.
my
the Lord is
goodness.
working on me.
Great.
I would say physically 8,
Got in a
9.
car accident. Gotta be survive.
Mentally a 6. Emotionally, baby, I'm a thug. I don't have them things over
She's
there.
a no limit soldier.
He's a Suge Knight rider, bro. He's
Master P, if y'all need an extra person, we got somebody.
We got a soldier. over
Soldier
there.
Slim. Yeah.
Cause what?
All jokes
Soldier
aside,
Big Mom.
Emotionally,
You don't know, baby. You don't know, baby D.
Fat mom.
Okay? You don't know, baby D.
Y'all play
They
all
do.
day.
They really do. Okay, how are you?
Mentally.
Girl, go and tell me you were 10 all the way across. Go and tell me.
Another 30 ball.
All the way across, girl. Stop playing.
They
Play
lying.
around here. We sweeping.
crazy.
They
I got
lying.
the sweet
Sweeping.
seats,
We going
baby. They too
They
heavy
lying.
over here.
It is.
Go on and get that 30 ball, baby.
Anyway, Shade, how are you doing?
Mentally, I'm at like a 6.5. The school year is. I'm ready for it to be over.
Me too, friend.
I've done
can
a
understand
lot
that.
this school year.
Me too, friend.
I'm tired.
I'm tired too.
So, just mentally, I'm exhausted. Physically, I'm around the same number, 6.5, 7, because I'm just tired of doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Emotionally, I'm in a pretty good space. I was in a very, very bad space for a few months. So, I would probably say I'm at like a 7 now.
Okay.
Kind of average, kind of steady. Not too high, not too low, just kind of cruising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked that because I think it's important. I think mental health is something that, we need to check in on, at least within our friend groups, with family and all of that stuff. And to spin off on that, what is something that we can pray for on your behalf, considering how great you guys have been feeling or how not so great y'all have been feeling?
Go ahead, Kay.
Shoot. The strength to continue to have discipline and patience and forgiveness.
Forgiveness
Not
on your
one-
behalf or on
no.
other people's behalf?
Forgiving.
Others.
Well, both.
Forgiving
I'm not gonna
others.
say I'm a perfect person, so I'm gonna say both. But me, because as y'all know, I don't get revenge, so just continue to pray to have discipline to know that it's not worth it at the end of the day.
Davis?
I would just say peace and continuing to find genuine happiness.
I like that. T-Money.
I would say just to keep my mind like consistent, like keep me on a consistent path. Because a lot of times I kind of I overthink a lot of stuff. So I just want to be able to just stay consistent with my positivity, my thoughts.
Yeah. White?
Y'all can pray for me in the way, let me see. Pray that I be still, because I feel like I'm always doing something. I'm always speaking sometimes. I feel like I overshare, I overspeak, I overtalk. Like I just overdo things. So can y'all pray that I can just be still in all means?
You just said a word right there. You don't even know it. Ash?
I don't know.
That's valid. That's valid.
I don't know.
That's valid. We just gonna pray for you as a person.
Yeah.
In
I
general.
like that.
Yeah, that's
I like
valid.
that.
That's valid. For sure. So
Dang, you going that heavy tonight?
I'm trying
She
not.
told us. She warned
I'm
us.
trying not to go that deep,
But
but
had me on my face in here.
I've been on this journey, to spin off on just asking y'all this wellness check. I've been on this journey with therapy, and I think it's something that is extremely overlooked within our community. And as educators, we sometimes take the role of that unintentionally when we forge these and build these relationships with our students and other staff members and all of that. And I just wanted to bring it to the table just to figure out, what are y'all impressions on therapy? So we can go around and just answer that. What is your impression on therapy? Kay, we're going to start at Kay because she started with Ash last time.
Okay. I think one-on-one therapy, sitting down with somebody. I think I'm for it. I think I probably had a therapy session maybe one time. I'm very picky because I can't open up to everybody.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I know we all need an unbiased opinion, if it's professional or whatever. But I'm for it. I feel like we all should do it, even if nothing is wrong with you. I still feel like you should have somebody to talk to that's not going to judge you or you feel like going to use it against you. But that can just give you the proper tools to deal with whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else can go. We don't have to go.
I say I'm 100% for therapy. I currently am in therapy myself, and I've been seeing a therapist for maybe like 3 years now. So I'm a big advocate of that because, as we all know,
And you still checking.
I didn't want to go there.
I was trying to hold it in.
But
And you
who is the
did
therapist?
I tell y'all I'm a work in progress.
The revenge
Who
is the
is the therapist?
Don't revenge number one.
Angela Bassett from Wayne Texas.
Okay, so let me put it.
Do
See
not
how they
recommend.
Because
how they play so
They
much.
play.
I was trying to hold it in. I was trying to figure out why.
We can't never be serious.
Bro, I'm over here trying to
So let me say
We
this.
done heard you plant evidence.
Not evidence.
I'm over here like shaking, trying to hold this in because I'm trying to be serious.
Therapist must be first
And then I
48.
said it.
Gotta be first 48.
It's like, bro,
You gotta be sitting down getting interrogated. It ain't therapy. That's not what it is.
that ain't adding up, baby.
They don't pressing charges on you, Davis.
And you still on the year of revenge.
They're building a RICO case on you.
It's
Okay?
It's
For
just
3 years.
counterproductive. We'll just
For 3 years. You think it's therapy?
Listen,
You're gonna be locked up.
It's counterproductive.
So,
David should have just been quiet.
Whoever the
You're
therapist
talking to
is.
Dr. Phil right now.
I'm trying to figure out the body language over here. Like, what's wrong with her?
I'm shaking because I'm trying to hold it by laugh.
The therapist got to be telling Davis to get her lick back. Got to be.
I'm
And
looking
you know why? They give you money because it's not working. They tell you to be peaceful and toxic at the same time. That's why you keep going back because you can't understand.
When she said I've been in therapy, I say it better not been longer than a year. Cause what?
You're about to graduate.
You should have some type of certificate by now.
She done completed 3
Community
years.
service hours.
You ain't got your 5 stars yet.
It ain't
Hi, my name is Davis.
We need a
I've been here
refund.
for 3 years.
We need a free.
Hi, Davis.
Reel it back. Reel it back. Come on.
You should be mentoring people by now.
You should be an AA president.
I'm not dealing with neither one of y'all. today.
Come on, Davis. All right.
You be calling you for referrals, Davis.
Come on. Let's get serious.
I just heard a whole bunch of.
Because the whole time I think about my response, and I'm like, oh, and this was like,
And she's still with a straight face. Like,
I've been going for 3 years.
I've been going for 3 years.
I just want y'all to know we all crying on this couch.
What?
they're terrible.
So let me say this.
Reiterate something.
Must be going to the guidance counselor because God.
The reasoning why I had to go to therapy, all that we
We're never going to get through this episode. This is not how the episode was supposed to go.
Oh God.
Take this serious.
Oh
This
God.
is not how the episode was supposed to go.
Sorry, Davis. Sorry.
Davis, the floor is yours. I'm listening. I'm
At
listening.
the workplace,
I don't even want to share.
I can't.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, y'all don't know how bad I was trying to hold that in.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad somebody said something.
What you over here?
Go to the next
Oh
person.
my goodness.
We're never
Davis,
gonna
you
get
set yourself up for that.
Tyranny.
You should have said 3 months and we would have understood.
We're never
You
gonna
said
get through.
3 years.
We're never gonna get through here.
Yearning.
Calls. That's what they told you to
Everybody pause and take a deep breath.
do. Okay, Davis. We sorry.
Okay, yeah, we'll
Tierney
probably.
started it. I was she.
my eyes burning.
Tierney did start that.
Tierney started it.
Bruh. I
gonna
was
give you the
waiting
benefit of
on.
the
She
doubt.
over here squirming. I'm like, what?
I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
We just need to put this in the Patreon.
Oh God.
What?
Okay,
so
why did you start going to therapy?
So can we
Davis?
let Davis
Okay,
finish?
Davis, go
Because we're
ahead.
going to cut
Davis,
that part.
what is your impression of therapy?
She said she's an advocate for it.
I'm for sure.
For 3 years.
3 years. For 3 years.
Okay, a client.
So you're going to go back.
You know, advocate.
What minute are we on?
Bro, y'all stop, bro.
No, y'all need to stop for real.
You're done? Okay. Yearning.
We're gonna go to the next question.
We'll talk about this off camera. Yearning. What's your impression?
I'm for therapy. I do agree that therapy is. I've never been to therapy though. Never experienced it. But just the fact that, you know, I do have people who I can kind of go to and express myself to. I would, like Kay say, not somebody who's not biased, but I'm very particular about who I share with. So I'm pretty confident that I'm pretty good. Only because I just started opening up. You know, the way I'm very bad at communicating, very bad at expressing myself. So I'm just coming around to learning how to do that. And
You're doing good, friend.
yeah, so I'm working up to that. But therapy I've never really been. But I do agree that it's necessary. Whether it's professional or somebody that you can talk to.
White.
I agree. I've never been to therapy. I've never like actually in high school like spoke to a guidance counselor or anything like that. I do agree with T. You find your group of people and you talk to them about your problems. You try to seek advice from an unbiased opinion. But I also feel like you have to be mindful of that because they're not trained professionals. They have your best interest in mind, but they also don't have your best interest in mind when you really think about it, because they may give you the advice with respect to protecting you and how you should retaliate or how you should act, this way, when in reality a professional wouldn't steer you in that direction. So I do believe that we do need to speak to someone professionally with an unbiased opinion, but I also do feel with discretion you can use your friends as those people.
Yeah, because you do have friends that could be unbiased.
Yeah. Ash, what do you think?
For someone who has so much trauma, I never really thought of therapy until it started to affect my household. When you start barking at your husband and your child after dealing with everybody else's kids all day, then at some point you got to be like, I need to go get some help. So I started therapy back in 2020.
Okay.
Not knowing that a year later my mother would pass, and then all of the things that we were discussing in therapy I would then use or lean on.
Wow. I'm glad you said that, because my next question was going to be, is therapy only associated with traumatic experiences?
For me, it has.
That's valid.
And I feel like within our community, we only seek professional help when we're at our lowest or when we're going through something, when you should be able to speak to your therapist when you have good times, when you have bad times, like freely. But I feel like we only go to the therapist when we are in times of stress.
SOS, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else?
No, I agree with White. Because it's hard to, it's easier to discuss stuff that's wrong with you than to discuss, like we saying, like, we 10 out of 10, like, it's easier to talk to somebody like, man, I need advice, than to, you know what I'm saying, just say, oh, I had a great day. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And I feel like we already have a hard time speaking, you know what I'm saying, on certain things anyway. So it's kind of like, why go talk to somebody if I haven't dealt with something, or if I don't have to.
Right.
My thing is, I want to sit down and talk to the people that is, I don't want to say cause the issues, but like, for example, I got some childhood things that I want to discuss with my mom. I don't want to talk about that
In therapy.
I want to talk to my mama about it. So that's with me. Like, I just really just want to have an open conversation with that person. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, I know they have family therapy and they can help guide those conversations.
But that's therapy too. When you
Right,
sit down and talk to that person, like, that's real life.
So that's
therapy.
my thing. I would rather talk to whatever I'm having an issue with, instead of, like, going to somebody.
But sometimes you can't talk to the person,
right?
Yeah.
because the person's not here.
And that's why.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So a lot of my discussions in therapy when I started therapy was about my deceased father and how the implications of that, and not seeing my mom grieve him properly and not being taught feelings. Like, in 2020 was when I learned how to put a name to a feeling, believe it or not.
That's valid. That is valid. I
So-
think that's something that's undermined sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they're like, how do you feel? And you're like, today's a good day. That's a dissociation.
Yeah.
That's not You're not answering that question.
For sure.
And then also in our community, when we growing up, what they tell us, ain't nothing wrong with you. Suck it up.
Stop crying.
But
You know what I'm saying?
But they deflect because they don't know how to navigate it themselves.
Right.
So they try to condition us to adopt those same
Mhm.
habits.
But I want to piggyback on what Kay said, and I want to disagree that it's easier to tell somebody your issues or when you need advice.
No, I said I prefer. I
Oh.
prefer that than to, like, if I, like I just gave you an example. If I, like, I know certain things that I dealt with, I need therapy for, professional advice for, but I would much rather prefer to talk to the person that quote unquote unintentionally caused those.
Oh no,
traumas.
but prior to that, you said it's easier to say
Oh, yeah,
I need
yeah.
advice
Right,
than
gotcha.
to say I'm
To a
having a good
therapist,
day.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, it's easier to say to my friends, "Today's a good day."
Gotcha.
Mask whatever I'm dealing with,
Same.
Right.
Same.
and not say what I'm really like, what this season in my life is.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what I wanted to disagree on. I think it's easier for us to sweep the real stuff under the rug,
Gotcha.
and just the superficial, the shallow stuff is easier to come out.
Yeah. Do you feel that emotional maturity is a requirement to consider therapy?
Yes.
Why?
Because you might not hear what you want to hear.
And not only that, you have to be emotionally intelligent to know that you need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can't decipher, if you don't know that, hey, what I'm doing here is wrong.
Yeah.
Like what I said with when it started to affect my home. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a teacher. I would come home and not want to help my child with his homework.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of yelling and screaming going on for homework help, and a lot of I'm apologizing, and a lot of lashing out at my husband. If I'm not emotionally intelligent to know like this is not healthy, then that cycle will continue.
For sure.
And so that's what I mean by there's a level of emotional intelligence that's needed to know that you got to change your behavior. And the only way that you could possibly change your behavior for me was to seek professional help.
For sure.
But it's also important to be able to receive what's needed to be received as far as feedback. And that's the emotional intelligence, knowing like, okay, I'm willing to go get therapy. I'm willing to go talk to someone. But am I at a stage in my life where I'm mature enough to listen and understand what I need to fix?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people think about therapy and they're just like, I just want to sit there and talk. I want to sit there and, you know what I'm saying, just get my feelings out. But are you emotionally mature enough to actually receive what's being said to you to say, okay, this needs to change.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to change this. Like, me coming to therapy ain't just about me talking about what somebody else did to me or what somebody else did, but can I sit here and receive like, no, you need to change this,
Yeah.
or you need to change that, or
Being
they did this
receptive.
because you reacted this way. So I think the maturity part also has something to do with what you can take in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
That's fair. So we've had some people who have taken that step to attend therapy. A few of us have not. So to rephrase my original question, what made you or what is hindering you from seeking therapy to talk about your life experiences?
I think the people who don't, it's because it's taboo in our community.
Mm-hmm.
I think people look at you like you're mentally unstable if you need a therapist,
Right.
because we're uneducated as a community about therapy.
And
is
the
what I would
benefits of
say.
it.
Yeah, because again, another personal experience for me is my nephew whose dad passed when he was 6, and he's now 16, and I'm still fighting the battle with his mother to seek therapy for him. And her whole idea of therapy is they're going to sit there and probe him. That's her thought on therapy. Her thought isn't this boy who's now a teenager has built up anger from losing his father and then losing his grandmother all within 5 years. he needs help. He needs somewhere to express himself. And at the time, he was sick. So I was trying to explain to her, there's music therapy, there's art therapy, there's play therapy. In her mind, though, the only therapy there was is you go and you sit on a shrink's couch and they ask you a million questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think not necessarily the probing. I think like as women, we normally will go to other women that has been through certain situations that we're going through right now to seek their advice, to seek how they actually got through a situation. And once we are done, you know, releasing all of our baggage onto that person, then we are like, okay, thank you. I just really needed to vent. I just really needed to talk to someone about this, get this off my chest. And because I've already talked to my friend about it, there's no need for me to then continue to talk to a professional about it because I've already communicated that with someone I trust.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we only need to get it out.
To get it out.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, every conversation or everything that we're going through ain't something that we got to go have a professional feedback or get, you know what I'm saying, professional help.
Yeah.
So a lot of times as women, we just want to be able to just get it out. We can't express ourselves to certain people. So once we get it out to that certain person or whoever we feel like we can confide in, then
I think, though, the piece missing with getting it out is the piece where they give you how to navigate.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I can come to you guys and say whatever about my trauma, but my trauma lives with me every day.
Yeah.
So how do I navigate it is the piece, because it's not continuously coming to my friends and dumping it on them like they're a dumpster. Right? Like if it's something like at work, something happened to me and I'm frustrated about it, yeah, I'm gonna go find my friends and we're gonna talk about it and we're gonna kiki, we're gonna say, I'm gonna say what I need to say, y'all gonna say what y'all need to say, and then we're gonna move on. But with the trauma that lives with you daily, somebody has to be able to tell you how to navigate that. The church tell you pray.
Yeah.
Praying is not enough. So I'm here to ring the alarm for the church folks. Like, praying don't help me most days with my trauma.
Yeah.
Somebody got to tell me, hey, journal this.
Yeah.
Do this, do that. Go run, go exercise, go do something. The church just say pray about it.
Yeah. Leave it in God.
Do you feel like that's also,
and you're
I'm sorry.
suffocating with your trauma.
Do you feel like that's also in our community the reason why we don't seek therapy, because of how your nephew's mom think? Oh, it's y'all probing. You get what I'm saying?
I think it's the ignorance.
Yeah.
Like, and what I mean by ignorance is not, I'm not saying that people are ignorant. They just have lack of knowledge about that area. So
That's ignorant.
right, but when you say someone is ignorant, they might think you're saying I'm
That's
stupid.
ignorant.
I'm not saying you're stupid.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you don't have enough information. So what you think it is, because hey, she might watch it. I don't want her to feel like I'm saying, hey, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No.
Yeah. So statistically speaking, I hate to be this nerd, but statistically women do attend therapy more than men.
Yeah.
And to kind of feed off what White was saying about maybe confiding in a close friend, I'm really big on safe spaces. So do you think, because there is a lack thereof of men going to therapy, do you think us as women, we provide safe spaces for them to where we can encourage them enough to attend therapy or to work on whatever the deficiency is that they're lacking?
As far as a man?
Speaking for myself, I feel like I'm an empath. If you tell me something, I take on that weight. And I think Big A knows that about me. So when it comes to him telling me certain things, I overanalyze, and then I'll take all that hurt, and then I'll feel sick. I'll be depressed, and it has nothing to do with me. But because you gave that to me, now I'm looking at your situation as if it's my own. So I do feel like he doesn't always share. He keeps a lot of it to himself and deals with it that way, because I'm not in a space to where I can actually decompartmentalize that. Like, this is not your trauma, white, put this here and just receive it from him, because then I'll be like, well, shit, if this person and who did this and like why they did this, like I'll start to be in that defense mode to where he understands that about me, and so I feel like sometimes I'm not his safe space.
Yeah.
Because how I like want to protect him, and if anybody does something to him or if he comes, like I'm already looking at them crazy, so I don't feel like I'm his safe space.
That's
dealing
fair.
with that.
I don't feel like I'm a safe space for JB either, but that's because he doesn't see me as someone who cares about what he may be going through. It is interesting because I think it stems from the fact that he's not open to therapy. So he doesn't understand the work that has happened with me in therapy. He's not open to himself going to therapy. I think sometimes some of my questions to get him to get to a resolve may make it seem like, well, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I think if he went to therapy, he would realize why I asked the questions that I asked.
Right.
So it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
When you're thinking you are creating a space and it's not being received as that space, because again, you're dealing with someone who is ignorant to therapy and the need for therapy. Like, my husband is very to himself, life of the party now, jokester. A lot of times, you know who he reminds me of? Robin Williams. And I might be getting a little deep here, but a lot of times JB reminds me of Robin Williams. Like, he's a big clown, but he has his moments where I feel like he feels like the weight of the world
Is on him.
is like closing in on him.
Yeah.
So
That's heavy.
but how can you help somebody like that who's not open to therapy? And how can I be a safe space if you're not, if the
Willing to.
right, the space I'm saying we need, you're not open to it?
That's tough. I ain't never thought about that. I think just because I haven't had that experience to know. I don't have very many homeboys, but just with my friends in general, I think I provide a safe space for everybody. I don't think it's reciprocated with everybody, but I do think that I provide a safe space for them. I think men most times are very prideful to a point where they don't want to allow themselves to be vulnerable, whether we've been friends since the sandbox or we've been friends for 5-10 years. Men are just very prideful beings to a point where they don't allow themselves to be vulnerable enough to open up. But I think safe spaces are necessary in any dynamic. That way, you know, you have that platform to know, like, if I have something that's burdening me, I can come to this person and release that.
And I think a lot of times too, like, the desire for them not to be vulnerable causes them to lash out. So if you're not, and for I guess I'm generalizing for anybody, but I was speaking more to who I share a home with. If you're not sensitive to that or emotionally intelligent, then we'll both be going back and forth.
For
like,
sure.
I've had to learn that it's a lash out from his not wanting to be vulnerable. And then maybe trying to probe, like, hey, what's going on?
That's heavy. I'm gonna be thinking about this when I get home. I'm letting you know that now.
I got a question for Ash.
What's up?
When you go back to you saying, like, him not being open to actually, like, talk, like, you know, you being a safe space, or him because of him or his lack of knowing what therapy is, or going to therapy or whatever, with you guys living in the same, like, living together, same house, being married and all that, do you think it's anything else or any other gestures that you can kind of, like, I guess, put into play or put into place where he'll start feeling like certain things are okay?
Yeah, so there's one thing that he started doing, and I don't know, he does a lot of podcasts. So one time he came home and he was like, so how's your mental health? But I will say that stemmed from, I think his first time getting to that, aside from the podcast, was there was a moment where he was over the road. My husband's a truck driver. And it was just me and our son at home. It was right after my mom had passed. I wasn't working. So there was a lot of conversations that were coming up. Like, my husband grew up in a house where his mother didn't work. His dad worked. She was home taking care of the kids. Like, she was always home. Whereas for me, that year when I wasn't working, I was still going out and doing the things. Like, I was still going on the girls' trips. I was still, you know, out. Like, there was no desire for me to run home because it was just me, our son, and the 2 dogs. So if that meant stopping by Dad's house and being there a little later, I was doing those things. JB, on the other hand, was like, why aren't you home? Like, and so in the midst of that confusion and our lives being turned upside down, because now he's over the road, I'm here by myself, I had to say, listen, I am still Ashley. I'm still a sister, a friend, a mother. Like, before our marriage, before this family unit, I was an individual. And so through those conversations is when I think my husband started to realize that my existence, I exist outside of just being his wife. Right. And then I had to explain to him, like, you exist outside of just being my husband and being a father. And so I had to share that, like, the whole, if we're both empty, we can't pour into each other when we come together because we have nothing to pour from. Right. And I think that's where the turning point started happening, with us really having those hard conversations and understanding each other on an individual basis. And so he does, like, he watched podcasts and tries to get, like, self-help type stuff. So back to your question, I now piggyback on that. Like, I'll say, well, how's your mental health and how's work? And because, again, he comes from a house where his dad was carrying everything. And so I think for him, he feels like he needs to carry everything. And so a lot of the times that breakdown comes from what he thinks the expectations of him are.
Wow. So before we transition, do you feel that healed people need therapy?
Yeah, because a lot of times healed people get emotionally dumped on too. So that might start affecting them. Everybody keep coming to you with their problems because, again, you are a safe space. So I feel like they need guidance on how to navigate with that, not taking on, like White said, she
not
does.
being an empath. Yeah.
Yep.
You're good. Yeah, I agree with you, Kay, for sure.
How many of us can raise our hand and say we're the strong friend?
Believe it or not, I am.
I'm both.
I would say depending on the friend.
For sure.
I'm
The
both.
dynamic?
Yeah.
I'm both.
Depending on the friend.
Yeah.
So
And do you
the strong one?
and do you
That's
feel
the strong one.
I'm a strong
So
friend.
I'm the weak one.
I mean,
I'm the weakest
friend,
link?
did you say it?
You clearly said that you take on, like,
You're an
you know,
empath, yeah.
you're an empath. So,
But I think, well, I guess it
well, I don't know.
I guess
think
it depends.
If we're gonna talk about you, I think it depends on when it comes to you in the conversation I would have with you or a conversation that you would have with me. I think it kind of depends on the topic. Like what I'm coming to you about or what you're coming to me about, because there are a lot of things that we've talked about, and it's more so of a I came to you because of, or I know I can come to you because of. So it kind of depends on, that's why I say it depends on the friendship, and it kind of depends on the conversation as far as who's the strong one or the weak one in that, I guess, that moment.
Because you do leave out details.
Not you throwing shade, and we trying to be.
And I'm gonna let them have that, baby. Me and Kay sitting to the side. baby.
So T is very careful when she does tell me stuff.
I
I'm
know,
like, wait
like
a minute.
I said before,
You
I'm
ain't say
starting
that.
to feel comfortable with communicating and opening up. So I'm still kind of fragile with
Yeah.
you know what I say and what I don't say. So I try to give you everything without the
And that's big for you because
yeah.
you don't communicate.
She made me
know.
cry last year. I want you guys to know that.
What, we still talking about the paper?
No.
What was your revenge when she didn't pick up no paper?
No, we're not gonna get off topic.
There's a change in grades in the system.
To the fact that she's not a communicator, she did make me cry last year. Cause
But then when she looked at you,
no, she didn't. I was
you need some help.
asking questions.
Oh, I remember.
You remember? Yes. Yeah.
She
So I'm very proud of her. Like
Yeah.
I really do appreciate.
Did communicate.
Shout out to T.
I do appreciate T. Like
We're learning.
And
how to
Ash
taking
walked
it in.
the hell away, baby.
I did. It hurt my feelings.
She got up and left the room, like literally, and I'm just like. I'm sorry, but that's just that's the type
Yeah.
of space I've been in. So I mean, I apologize, but I'm not big.
Because the way
on-
she received me being like concerned and caring and
Genuine.
I looked at her
like
Probing.
I looked at her like
She
girl,
looked at her like she was probing.
Yeah,
Like in
that's
that
how
black
she,
community.
Yeah.
that's how she looked at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it hurt my feelings because she was just like,
What the?
Why you in?
What the hell?
What the hell, y'all?
but yeah, so
Wow.
yeah.
So considering that Ash is in therapy, I'm in therapy. Davis,
3 years in. 3 years in.
He's in an
Kay has
interrogation
considered or
She's
attended
been
therapy.
once.
series. Well, I've been to I'm a group therapy. Let me say that.
Okay, and then we
I'm gonna say
have Bert and Ernie who don't attend therapy. What for the ones who attend therapy? What was your criteria for choosing your therapist? And for you two who haven't attended, what would your criteria be if you considered it?
I wanted a woman and I wanted her to be a Christian.
That's fair.
Because I didn't want the teaching to simply be based off of her experience or knowledge, or I did want it to be biblically founded.
For sure. Davis? I'll
I
go
wanted
there.
a black woman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
One that could relate to,
The black
For-
experience.
for
Yeah.
sure, and
Yeah.
one that, how can I say it the best way? One, she has a vast background, so she doesn't just deal with black people because I don't deal with just black people in
Right.
everyday norm. So I just didn't want that, but I did need somebody who had that experience, like
Someone
a
that
black
looks like you.
woman.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've had black women who are also Christians as therapists. The last therapist I had, I felt like she was just somebody I could vent to. She didn't give me nothing I felt like I could apply. So my current therapist, is a black man. And I'm not gonna lie, that's my dog. Like my last session, we was talking about basketball and everything. We don't unpack that, but he gives me homework to check myself,
My
not
therapist too.
necessarily to analyze what anybody else has done, but he gives me assignments to check myself. And I think that was something that I needed because now it points the finger back on me to realize what I've allowed, what I've let slide, what I don't stand 10 toes down about. And then we come back and revisit it, and he gives me those techniques on how I could move forward. He doesn't say, Taylor, you need to do this. he said, well, I think you should consider XYZ, and then it's up to me on what I
You
pull
consider.
from that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So shout
I
out
like
to my
that.
therapist. You my dog, boy. I'll talk to him next week, actually. That's my guy. Okay, before we get to the
we saying
non-therapy
preferences.
people.
I was currently, actively looking for a therapist probably like early in the year, but I prefer a black female or a female in general. Only because I didn't grow up expressing myself to men. So I wouldn't be comfortable like that. Like I had men in my life, but I would mostly talk to women, and I was more comfortable talking to them. So that's what I prefer.
Mine would be a black male. And it's kind of like the opposite. I've always had women around me, like all growing up, like mom, my granny, my grandma, my mama. Like I've always had active women in my life, like to be able to talk to them or not be able to talk to them. I've experienced the whole communication with women, so I feel like I would be way more comfortable or just at ease with talking to a male.
Yeah.
I agree with T. I also was raised around a lot of women. Like my dad was the only male of 7 women until my little brother came along. So I feel like I just want a male perspective, because I feel like the male would probably hold me accountable for certain things, as to where a black woman probably wouldn't, because she's been there, she understands. And I feel like what Shade was saying could be like how I would have that same relationship with, where they would just be, I would just be venting to them, like I would do my homegirl.
Right.
And I didn't come here to seek a homegirl. I came here to seek a professional. And granted, they might be the professional, but to me, I would need to have that trusting feeling to where we're getting somewhere. And I think having a black male to hold me accountable, I would perceive that more than a black woman, only because it's a different perspective that I'm not used to. And I feel that sometimes we don't get, we're not held accountable by the black male.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're not present in our lives, or, you know, they just are too busy working 2, 3, 4 jobs to where you don't really have that male in your life. So I would go that way. And granted, I have a father, but I wasn't able to build that relationship with him until like now, my grown adulthood. Now I'm able to call my dad and just talk, and he just listens. So I feel like I would prefer a black male.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, do you feel as if therapy could be a form of self-care?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
To what extent?
My mental care, my emotional care, physical care too.
Yeah.
Physical care in that growing up, I dealt with suicidal thoughts. And so I backtracked when Arthur was murdered. My thoughts came back. And so therapy for me has saved me from those thoughts of causing harm to myself.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I feel like it's a luxury that a lot of people don't have the benefit of actually receiving. It's like I put therapy for some reason with facials, to where it's like this lifestyle that a lot of people are not privy to because of the access.
Yeah.
A lot of times insurance
They don't cover
therapy, so you're paying out of pocket.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money,
Exactly. Do you want dinner tonight, or do you want to go
go to therapy.
therapy?
And
So-
if you have somebody who don't care about therapy, they're like, okay, you want to go
Yeah.
spend money yapping to somebody on a couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
you can come and yap to me about it, or you can go to that person and tell them how you feel. Because I also think we was raised on that too. You go to the person
Right.
who you have a problem with, and you either try to solve it or y'all fight it out, or whatever it is that we just didn't have the means to actually afford therapy. So when I hear therapy, I always think of it as like this luxury that a lot of people don't have access to, and one that I grew up without. So like, why do I need it now? It's like facials. Do I need a facial, or can I go in the bathroom, and do the facial,
face.
wash my face myself.
Yeah.
I need it, friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Davis K.
What was the question again?
Do you feel like therapy is a form of self-care?
Oh yeah. But for me, my therapy is different. Like my therapy, what I consider therapy is playing basketball, listening to music, being around positive energy. That's what I consider therapy, because like she said, like you can't. I'm not in a situation where everybody can afford the therapist, so I feel like you have to find something that can be that outlet that, you know, is to quote unquote free, or, you know, doesn't cost much. So
Yeah.
and I also don't judge me, I talk to myself in the little voice notes. I talk to myself. I replay an argument. I do a lot of that on my voice notes. That way I can get it out if I don't want to particularly share it with anybody. You know what I'm saying? But at least, because writing it down, it don't be quick enough. Like, I be wanting to say and yell and cuss and fuss and talk my whatever, and not just delete it. I play it back and then I delete it.
That's a form of brain dumping, though.
Yeah.
Like that's yeah. Well, I appreciate all of y'all for your vulnerability.
Girl, you should have given us a heads up.
Y'all don't take nothing serious anyways. We laughed the first 15 minutes of that episode.
I should have lied.
Like,
Big
be
up to
for
the
real.
therapy MVP.
We ain't gonna let
like,
you go down.
3 years strong.
3 years
baby.
and counting.
3 years in. But still on the year long.
And big up to the insurance companies that cover.
Sure. I was just going to say that, being that we're educators, you know, through our district, we are offered the luxury of having a resource through our EAP to consider those things. And if you do consider it, you get 5 free sessions, maybe 6, depending on your insurance. And if that's something you're considering, I mean, at least you got 5 to 6 free ones, and then you can navigate, you know, if you want to continue that or not. But
EAP is actually what introduced me to that.
it's like a educator assistance program. So it provides you, you know, resources through your Medicare and all of that stuff to kind of get whatever help you need. And there's still plenty of platforms out there. I tried EAP with my last therapist. I didn't really feel the vibe, so I went to another platform called Grow Therapy, and we can add the link to that if you're considering that.
Private too.
Where you could literally handpick your criteria and their availability to fit whatever need it is that you have.
That's nice.
For me, I was in therapy for depression and just navigating relationships and all of that stuff. So you can really pick whatever criteria you want for your therapist, whatever topic it is, and all of that stuff. So, but thank you guys for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.